So we'll start with your 3-minute introduction.
Okay, super. Well, I'm Sally Leiber. I'm very thankful to be here today. I currently serve as chair of the State Board of Equalization, and as part of chairing the board, I also serve on the Franchise Tax Board. I have always been very interested in tax policy and the implications of tax policy for the community. And some of the issues that I've worked on the BOE include the tax credits for affordable housing, and on the Franchise Tax Board, also the tax credit, earned income tax credit for California, as well as the young child and the foster youth tax credit. I am always engaged in a lot of constituent casework. I represent 10.4 million people in 19 counties. And at first I thought, that's going to be 10.4 million tax problems. But most people who are worried about a tax problem kind of hide out from us, and they don't come forward until we sort of, find them through outreach or whatever. The other day I was at a gallery in the Mission, and the owner of the gallery, it turned out, had a tax concern, and she just happened to ask me what I do for a living, and so I told her and gave her my card. She made contact, and so we're working with her right now. And that's the kind of things that I love to do, is help people get out of issues that are so impactful and deteriorating to their lives, and also empower people through the use of our tax codes. So I am running for another 4 years. I'm the only member of the board that's eligible to run for re-election. I'm also the only woman that's on the board, elected to it, although our state controller, who is fantastic, acts as an ex officio member of the board, so it's very valuable to have her there. And so my husband says that I'm a very taxing woman. I guess I am. Yes, very taxing, but in a good way.
Okay, we'll go ahead with the question.
Okay, thank you for that. First question is, as chair, you have overseen the legal entity ownership program, informational hearings. What specific legislation or regulatory changes will you champion in your next term to close the legal entity loophole, ensuring that large commercial property transfers are reassessed as consistently as residential sales?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a top concern that I have, and the reason that we held the hearing on what we call the LEOP program is that it's very clear when a home changes hands and should be reassessed. It's less clear for a publicly traded company, or even for a multi-level LLC, where you have one LLC stacked on another, and et cetera. So we have to do a better job of getting at when these entities are changing hands. And so we've developed legislation. We, meaning I, have developed legislation. We did take that around the Capitol this year, and we didn't get anyone who is interested in carrying it this year, but got a lot of interest for next year. This would be a statutory fix, so it does not interrupt Prop 13. It simply implements the original purposes of Prop 13, because one of the dysfunctions that we have happening now is that new families that are trying to buy a home are paying so much more in property taxes than a gas station down the street, than a restaurant down the street. If you look at just Disneyland, and their taxes are frozen in time at their base year value being from the 1970s. So we've estimated, along with some academic partners, that this would be about $12 to $14 billion a year for the state if everyone were assessed timely and correctly. So we're going to pursue that next year. And I'm a recovering state legislator. I was in the building and I managed to detox from it, but I know how the system works, and so we're going to be working with the legislature next year. and see if we can make some movement on this, because we need the money.
Thank you.
Thank you. So for smaller grassroots nonprofits, for example, like a resident-led cooperative, in a housing model, the transition from master tenant to property owner involves significant administrative hurdles. So as chair, how will you streamline the process for small nonprofits to obtain their organizational clearance certificate, so that property tax assessments don't become a barrier to acquisition during the critical first year of ownership?
Yeah, that is such an essential question, and we have been working with the co-ops this year and having conversations with them, and we're going to continue into next year. I believe that they did have a legislative fix that they were thinking about bringing forward this year, and we don't want to interrupt that process in any way, but we're going to keep on working with them, because we have to have many different models of housing that exist, and I feel very strongly that we need a laddered approach to housing, everything from safe camping and safe vehicle parking for our vehicle dwellers, on up through studio efficiencies, SROs, etc. And the tenancies in common and the co-ops are definitely a part of that. And so we're going to be continuing to work with folks and supporting their legislative efforts, and if needed, we can source the legislation and bring that forward, help to get an author and bring it forward. And I think that's been pretty unusual for the BOE, because there have been members of the BOE who have gone into the legislature, and a couple that have gone from the legislature into the BOE, but I haven't seen a lot of direct interaction. And so I've really worked hard to continue my relationships with the legislature and to be able to get draft language through Ledge Council, and then to work to get an author. So I actually have one bill in this session, but next year is going to be the first year of a 2-year session. So that's kind of magical, because then you have the space of 2 years to work a bill.
Thank you. Are there other questions? Because I have one more. So it was kind of like to build off of the previous one. So you have a long record of advocating for affordable housing, yet the BOE's primary mandate is to maximize and stabilize the property tax base that funds local schools and services. So how do you reconcile these two goals when considering property tax exemptions for nonprofit developers and low-income, again, housing cooperatives?
That's something that has been really controversial with our assessors. I have 19 counties, so I work with 19 different assessors, and actually with 58 through the California Assessors Association. And there have been affordable housing developments that are like 200% or even more of area median income. And they propose, and in some cases, like in Marin, they've built very lavish tenant services in terms of wonderful pools and all kinds of things. Where my heart is in the deeply affordable space. I've done a lot of work on extremely low income housing, and so the assessors get nervous when there's a piece of property that has always produced tax income for local school districts, for county services, which are so important to people's survival, and then it's going to become a 300% of AMI housing development. So I'm currently in talks with them. I have always said on the BOE that I want to get tax credits out as quickly as possible, but that I will stand as a pretty big block in the road of supporting legislation to go for higher levels 200% of AMI and above. I think that right now we have to concentrate on ELI and 100% of AMI and those kinds of situations. Like in San Francisco, we have a lot of luxury housing and an absolutely pathological lack of truly deeply affordable housing. And the thing that I frequently talk to my constituents about is no matter how well placed they are utterly dependent on the labor of people who are very low income. If any one of us has to go into a hospital, we better hope that there's people working that dish room. We better hope that there's people working in the laundry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Home care, everything about it. So we've got to get real about housing, and I think a lot of it lays in this laddered approach. I know someone who works for the VA. She's working with a lot of homeless veterans, and because there's such a lack of the deeply affordable housing, she's telling them, get a van of whatever condition and find a place where you can park it. And telling people to get into a shelter system that we know that they have no hope of getting into, or getting into affordable housing, which can be lotteries and waits of years, or getting into a non-existent Section 8 voucher, let alone actually receiving Section 8 housing. We got to have some other ways for people to survive. So it's, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Thank you. I'm very passionate about it. I think you got to let people survive, and there has to be a way for people to live in peace. The right to live in peace is very, very important. So, yeah.
Is there not any more questions? Because we have 2 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you have a very good point when you have all those districts and
Yeah, so I have 19 counties, so I've got Del Norte in the north, and beautiful Humboldt, and all these different places, and then I've got the entire Bay Area, and then I go down to through Ventura County. So it's really, urban, rural, suburban, and people are really in different kinds of life situations. I have a little Ford Transit Connect van that has my bed and my desk and everything in it, and so I do a lot of travel around my district. If I just went straight through my district, it would probably take about 3 days of reasonable level of driving to get through it. I think it's what I'm always trying to do in Sacramento is to instill some compassion into policy and make sure that the human side of it is there, and delve into the details, get into the guts of the machine, because that's where it gets really interesting, and where you can do bona fide good things with policy. Well, I just so much appreciate you having me in today. I'm sorry I was late and got stuck behind an accident, but what you're doing is very, very important here. And the more conversations that get out to people, it's really very essential. And especially now, we're on our own with this horrible federal administration. I do a lot of organizing of actions in the South Bay. My goal with that is to give people a chance to have their say and not get hurt doing it. And we do have a lot of really older white people that are coming out, and they know that they got a tremendous benefit from the system, and it's their turn to carry the load. And that's very, very critically important. So we have to work all sides of all this, the policy side, the community organizing side, be about the radical solidarity for the people that are being hunted and killed right now. So all those things, and we're up to the challenge. Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you guess what I do?
You're a housing guy related,
Affordable housing.
affordable housing cooperatives, were you on